Meghan refused to touch or look after Archie even once. She didn't look at him. She had zero interest when he was upset. And she expected the staff the entire time to take. This British Airways staff member insisted to me that it was very obvious to her that there was zero connection between mother. The other day, Meghan Markle used this hapless American Airlines hostess to put out a whole load of propaganda about
nothing to be admired. Her true self is nasty. She's a bully, and she doesn't have a good bone in her body. And she deserves all the negative PR that she gets and people speaking out against her.
He made some comments this week that in 2018, Meghan was the most trolled person in.
So important to us is because my wife in 2018 was the most trolled person in the world. There was...
Because you can't keep going around acting and being this kind of person while trying to appear to be this really good-natured person who's trying to do good in the world. I mean, that's fraud. Right there being a very sinister, devious, not good person. It's so bad. And I think
Before the coffee carts even clinked down the aisle, a whisper in the galley was already racing ahead of the plane. One sentence, one sideways glance, and by the time the wheels touched down, a story had taken flight without a single piece of luggage to weigh it down. That's how today works. A rumor needs no runway. It only needs a moment, a phone, and an audience hungry for shock. Did you hear what the crew overheard? That's the spark. Everything that followed was the wildfire. The public version looked picture perfect. Polite smiles, a handwritten thank you note that Instagram could frame. The kind of tidy moment that says, see, we're normal, we fly, we're gracious. But the neatest posts often hide the messiest comment sections. Because while the front of the cabin was curated, the back was buzzing. Not with facts, those are boring, but with suggestion. With that dangerous little cocktail of someone said mixed with you didn't hear it from me. And that's how a story about travel etiquette turned into a trending theory about a family's most private corner, their kids. If you followed this couple for longer than a weekend, you know the pattern. A wave of praise, a storm of backlash, and somewhere between the two, a mystery that refuses to sit down and keep quiet. This time, the mystery arrived strapped into a narrative about what was seen, what was said, and who did or didn't act like a doting parent for all the world to applaud. The problem? Airplanes are loud, memory is selective, and the internet never asks for the full recording before it declares a verdict. Here's what pulls people in. Contrast. One moment, a polished note that melts social media. The next, anonymous claims that behind a curtain, the vibe was cold, the connection missing, the bonding off. Nothing lights up a timeline like a polite photo meeting a harsh whisper. And nothing accelerates faster than the idea that an image is crashing down. But slow down and you'll notice the gaps. Gaps big enough to taxi an A320 through. What was actually heard? Who heard it? What's on record beyond secondhand retellings? Suspense loves a vacuum, and vacuums don't demand proof. Still, when the subject is a young family, even the faintest hint hits like a cymbal. That's where today's attention economy gets ruthless. To rise above the noise, stories go heavy on emotion and light on verification. They use extreme language because the algorithm rewards it. They dangle phrases like the truth about their kids because nothing keeps a viewer longer than a promise to reveal what's supposedly been hidden. It's a high wire act. Viewers want shock, creators need retention, and privacy is the net that always gets cut first. There is another layer, one that fascinates and terrifies in equal measure. Celebrity travel isn't just boarding passes and barcodes, it's choreography. Who sits where? Who carries what? Who smiles? When? Every move gets decoded. If a parent looks tired, the narrative says cold. If a nanny steps in, the narrative says detached. If a child naps through turbulence, the narrative says no bond. It's storytelling by screenshot, and it turns ordinary parenting moments into Rorschach tests for millions of strangers. Everyone sees what they're prepared to see. Then comes the multiplier. Anonymity. A veteran crew member. A source close to the flight. The phrases are catnip for clicks and kryptonite for clarity. Airline crews, by policy and professionalism, are supposed to be invisible guardians. Safety first, discretion second. So when a post claims an insider whispered something personal, skepticism isn't cynicism, it's common sense. But skepticism doesn't trend, certainty does. And so the unverified becomes everybody knows by lunchtime. What about the bigger question? The one that keeps resurfacing no matter how many times people try to bury it? Rumors don't die in the digital age, they molt. They shed one viral shell and crawl into another. Old clips get recirculated with new captions. A harmless gesture gets reframed as a clue. A timeline gets sliced and rearranged until it supports the story someone already wanted to believe. The engine isn't facts, it's confirmation. If you press play hoping to be outraged, you'll find your outrage. If you press play hoping to be reassured, you'll find that too. The audience curates the evidence as much as any editor. Meanwhile, two truths collide at 30,000 feet. Truth 1: famous parents owe the public nothing when it comes to their children. Truth 2: the public will still demand everything anyway. That's the paradox. People will say, protect the kids with one breath and share invasive speculation with the next. They'll call for kindness and reward cruelty. They'll condemn gossip while scrolling for more. It doesn't make anyone uniquely bad. It makes the system uniquely efficient at turning curiosity into collateral. Here's the quiet reality most feeds won't highlight. You can't diagnose affection through a window shade. You can't measure attachment by glances captured between drink service and the safety demo. You can't capture real family dynamics in a 5-second clip ripped from its context, edited, subtitled, memmed, and re-uploaded by accounts that vanish when the ad revenue dries up. Audiences deserve better. Families, any family, definitely do. Of course, the counter-narrative fires back just as hard. If there's nothing to hide, show everything. That's the trap. The moment private people bow to that demand, privacy stops being a boundary and becomes a bargaining chip. Today it's proof of a travel routine. Tomorrow it's proof of a bedtime ritual. Next week it's proof of a DNA test. Give the internet an inch of intimacy and it asks for a mile, then sells tickets to watch you walk it. And yet, if you study these storms, you will see a pattern behind the outrage. Timing. When a rumor spikes, a content wave follows. Smiling clips, cozy photos, a well-lit montage reminding viewers that nothing is wrong. To some, the timing reads like PR triage. To others, it's just how families cope. Flood negativity with normalcy. The interpretation depends on what story you wanted to hear when you opened your phone. There's also the ethics nobody on a hot mic wants to touch. When anonymous claims involve children, even repeating them as just rumors can do damage that outlasts a news cycle. Kids don't choose any of this, and they don't get a say when adults package their names into cliffhangers. That isn't softness, it's responsibility. A good story can be fierce without making minors the battlefield. So where does that leave us? With questions, honest ones. Why do airline aisle whispers become gospel? Why are strangers so eager to adjudicate the love between parent and child they'll never meet? Why do we treat a family's most fragile moments as community property? And why do some of us feel a rush when a polished image cracks, even if the shards cut small, unchosen people first? If you zoom out further, you see the modern script: fame, backlash, rebrand, repeat. Every crescendo needs a villain. Every redemption arc needs a fall. Today's episode casts the crew as reluctant witnesses, the passengers as extras, the internet as the courtroom, and the kids as Exhibit A. That's not a documentary, that's a drama with no fact checker and no finale. And you, yes, you are both the audience and the producer every time you share, stitch, or quote tweet a claim you wouldn't bet your own name on. Does that mean we should never ask tough questions? Not at all. It means ask the ones that matter. If someone claims to have proof, where is it? If they say insiders confirmed it, who stands behind it? If a story depends on unnamed people describing private family dynamics, what's the cost of being wrong, and who pays it? If the only way to win the argument is to drag a child into the ring, maybe the argument isn't worth winning. Here's a different angle, the one that keeps viewers watching without feeding the rumor machine. The anatomy of a viral scandal: start with a glossy moment, add a cryptic whisper, stir in old clips conveniently recaptioned, season with sources say, bake at high heat for 12 hours across 5 platforms, serve with certainty. Then, when the first cracks appear, swap in a new headline. They're panicking. Legal teams scramble. Palace in crisis. No documents, just momentum. The show must go on, and it does, because the show isn't about facts, it's about feelings. And if you're still here, if you're still listening, you can feel something else under the noise. Fatigue. Viewers are getting smarter. They're starting to ask, who benefits from this? Narrative. They're noticing when accounts pop up overnight to confirm the latest twist. They're noticing when an argument relies on freezing a parent in 1 second of footage and ignoring the next 30. That skepticism won't trend as hard as gossip does, but it lasts longer. It makes better choices in the long run. Let's be blunt. The internet will keep daring celebrities to prove their private lives on demand. The internet will keep asking crews, staff, and friends of friends to risk their jobs with juicy quotes. The internet will keep coming for children's privacy because clicks don't care how old you are, but you don't have to play the part the algorithm wrote for you. You can want the tea and still refuse to burn the house down to boil it. If a truth exists here, it won't come from aisle whispers or stitched clips. It will come from official, on-the-record statements backed by verifiable documentation, not from vague "I was there" accounts that only appear when the lights are hottest. Until then, the fairest position is also the least dramatic. We don't know, and not knowing is not a weakness. It's integrity in a world that punishes patience and rewards the fastest, loudest guess. So consider this your invitation to watch differently. Notice what the camera doesn't show. Notice what the captions try to make you feel before you think. Notice which stories always seem to arrive right when a brand needs heat. Positive or negative, it doesn't matter. Heat is heat. And notice how often the truth about other people's children is just a hook with no safe landing. The next time a headline screams that a crew overheard something devastating, ask the boring questions that save you from being played. Who said it? Can they prove it? Who corroborated it on record? What's the source's incentive? And if the answers are all fog, step back. Let the plane land. Let the family be a family. Yours would want the same grace if strangers ever decided your most intimate moments were public property. Here's the part you'll remember long after the clip ends. A rumor can win today, but it can't win tomorrow unless we keep feeding it. That choice belongs to us. Curiosity is human. Cruelty is optional. And when the topic is kids, anyone's kids, optional should become off limits faster than a seatbelt sign mid-turbulence. If a real, verifiable truth emerges, we'll face it then. Until that day, let's not confuse suspense with certainty or speculation with compassion. The sky is loud enough without adding echoes we can't take back. And if this entire saga has revealed anything, it's that the loudest sound on any flight isn't the engine. It's the chorus of people deciding what story to believe before the cabin door ever opens. What happens next? Maybe nothing, maybe everything. Maybe the internet moves on by dinner and returns at midnight for another round. But if you've made it this far, you already know the one outcome worth betting on. The clicks will keep knocking, and the conscience will keep asking whether the price is worth paying. Today, choose the answer you'll be proud to replay. Because here's the real truth we can stand behind without invading anyone's life. Children deserve quiet, families deserve boundaries, and all of us deserve media that doesn't need to put a minor on trial to keep us watching.